had some questions about how you can best connect with your child from birth all the way through teenagers. And so I'm going to talk about maybe 4 or 5 points on how to do that. So we're just going to jump in and get started. I'm glad that you're here. And if you have any questions as I'm talking, since we're live, go ahead and type them in and I will see them, and I'll answer them as we go along. So we have talked before about rituals, and having rituals with your child is just an activity that you do to connect with them. So I'm going to give you an example of something I used to do with mine when they were little, and you might do this too. It's called crisscross applesauce. So your child sits on you with maybe his back to you, and you touch his back and say, crisscross applesauce. Spiders crawling up your back. Tight squeeze or light squeeze, you squeeze their neck. Warm breeze and blow on their neck. Now you've got the shiveries. So it's just something silly. Maybe I could figure out how to put a clip of my brother doing that ritual with my son whenever he was probably under 2 years old. So that's just a way to connect with your child, having a moment of just you and your child and connecting with them with touch and presence. You're not like crisscross applesauce. Oh, I wonder if I have a text. Right? So you're there with your child in that moment. So that's something we've talked about before in connecting rituals. But what I want to talk to you today about is, and I just checked my notes to see the word I'm using, I'm calling it floor play. So whether your child is an infant, obviously you'd be on the floor with them, or even teenagers. My teenagers still hang out on the floor and do Legos. They make some pretty crazy, cool creations with their Legos. So when you are connecting with your child on the floor with floor play, you can do something as simple as puzzles, building puzzles with them. It could be really intricate puzzles that maybe you and your family work on for days, or just a simple puzzle that they want to work on for the moment. So being on the floor and doing puzzles with them. That's one idea. 2 is Legos, which you can do for all ages. There's bigger Legos for littler kids and smaller Legos, Star Wars Legos that my boys are really into. Now, dolls. Now, my sister-in-law was infamous for saying it was so hard for her to get on the floor and play dolls or something with her kids, because as soon as she got on the floor, she would fall asleep. It was like, that was something my brother, her husband, did really well with the kids, to get on the floor and connect with them. And she was able to connect better in other ways. And then there's always imaginative play, just joining a child's world. So I visited a friend last night, and their 7-year-old boy had made me this beautiful little necklace. So right away, he made it for me, and I put it on, and he just thought that was the coolest thing ever. So I told him I would wear it today in my video. So I will put this on because I told him I would. So joining their play, their imaginative play. So it's, you know, I'm going to make you to be a queen, mommy, and you say, oh yes, I'm queen mom, and just be silly, and joining their play helps you connect with them. I mean, anything can happen in your imagination, right? They could fly. I had one of my sons is very, very imaginative. So whenever the 3 kids would play together when they were littler, and they'd say, oh, we're playing I don't know, Thanksgiving dinner, and they'd set the table, and my one son would say, I'm a squirrel with a jetpack, and I'm buzzing into Thanksgiving, and the other 2 were like, no, that's not how we're playing. But he was so imaginative, and having one of us, myself or my husband, joining in his imaginative play really helped us connect together. And then finally, the last point I have for how to connect with your child, unless you have some other questions I can address, is through turn-taking games. So when your children are really little, it could just be, and this helps them learn how to take turns. Excuse me. So you say, you know, it's my turn with the ball, it's your turn. So you roll a ball back and forth, and you literally say, my turn, your turn, my turn, your turn. And that teaches them how to take turns, and it helps you connect with them. So there's a dual benefit in that one. And also even something like bubble blowing, right? You blow bubbles and your child pops them. and then she blows bubbles and you pop them. So that's another turn-taking game you can play. And so we talked about ball toss, your turn, my turn. You can even use a truck with that. My turn, and then give it to him, your turn. And often we say to kids, share your toys, but really unless it's something you can break apart like a cookie, you can't share that. You have to take a turn with it. So that's why sometimes if you're like, share your book, and they're like, no, it's my book, because sorry about that. You can't tear the book apart and share it, but now a book you can open and look at together. But sometimes toys, like a truck, you can't share it, but you can take turns. You can say, it's my turn, it's your turn. So by turn taking with your child, it helps connect with them and teach them how to make connections. So I am glad you're here. Let's see, I have Linda and Stephanie and Andrea. Good morning. If you have any questions, go ahead and type them in and I will answer them to the best of my ability. I'll wait while you're thinking. Take a sip of coffee. What's new in your world, ladies? What's going on, moms? What can I help you with? How can I help you better connect with the children in your lives? Hi. So, and if you can't think of anything on the spot, you just wanted to tune in because you were scrolling through Facebook, that's fine too. You can always message me or during the week, and then I can address it when we have Q&A, or you can message me, you can email me, you can post it. Maybe that's it for today, and that's fine. Tomorrow is Halloween, so I pray that if you're going trick-or-treating out with your kids, that you're safe. Unfortunately, so many accidents happen on Halloween night with people not watching where they're going when they're driving, and hitting kids in the road. So keep your kids close, keep them safe. And oh, great! Here's a question from Andrea. My 5-year-old doesn't listen or answer when I ask him questions. Okay, that's a great question, Andrea. So having I can't imagine that. He's such an obedient little child when I see him. So Andrea has a 5-year-old who doesn't listen or answer when she asks questions. So I would say the first thing is to make eye contact with him. Often we find ourselves like over here, like I'm doing this. Hey, Johnny, go take care of blah, 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 right? And we need to stop and go over and look at Johnny and say, Johnny, I need you to blah, 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 or whatever the question is. Johnny, what do you want to eat for lunch? So you make eye contact. Second, you have him repeat it back to you. So first, you want to make sure you have his attention. Second, have him repeat it back to you so you know that he heard you. So hopefully those two will help him answer. He doesn't listen or answer when I ask questions. So hopefully that will help him listen to you because you know that you've made a connection with him, you've made eye contact. And then answering your questions, sometimes they just don't hear it. They're off in their own, we talked about imagination, they're off in their own worlds. And I swear, I even say with my 13 and 14-year-old that I feel like I'm the Charlie Brown teacher sometimes with them. It's the wah, 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 and they just don't even listen. So I have to get their attention and make sure that they're listening. For my children, I started really young, but we still do it. That when I speak to them, I want them to respond. So whether I say, hey, do you have your pencils today in your backpack? They have to say yes. Or they have to say, oh, I'm getting them. So I know they heard me. Because they'll say, oh yeah, I heard you and I was getting my pencils. But how do I know if I can't see you? And it's just good manners. The same thing goes with texting. So when someone texts you, you need to respond so they know that you got the text. I mean, that's just good manners. So by requiring my children to even say like, okay, it might seem kind of tedious. Some other people down south might literally have them say, yes, ma'am, or yes, sir. And whatever works for you, but training them to respond. It's just like when you have a conversation, which is why I think sometimes lives are hard for me because I don't have someone going, uh-huh, right? When you're talking to people and they go, oh yes, mm-hmm. It's just a way to have a conversation. So great question, Andrea. And I do see Heather's here today. Hello. And if you don't have any other questions, I'll just end it here. But always feel free to ask me questions. Please visit my website for all of these videos. I know you can find them on Facebook. They're also on YouTube. And there's articles on my website. It's connectpointmoms.com, and there's a free Parenting 101 class. You can get the first module for free when you sign up. So check it out. I'm really glad that you joined today. As always, let me know how I can help you better connect with the children in your lives. Have a wonderful day and a safe Halloween. Bye-bye.